So really the first question is super simple. Maybe just a little bit about you and a little bit about your background and then also and your role there and then also like what you guys do in general.
Okay. Um, I've been working for Ocean Health Initiatives for 13 years. I was security for 8 years, and then I've been IT for the remainder. I'm just IT help desk. Mhm.
Okay. And in terms of your company, like what does the organization do? The security needs, things like
We're a healthcare facility, federally qualified. Yep, FQHC.
that. Yep. And so obviously, patient registration,
Hmm.
your patient information, PII, HIPAA compliance, things like
Yes.
that is obviously top of mind. Okay, that's great.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just jump into a series of questions really quickly for you. So, if we sort of like rewind the clock a little bit and we look back, what was it that originally brought you over to Evolve IP? Like sometimes, or typically, at least in my experience anyway, there's some sort of conversation that happens, could be in the boardroom, could be in an executive's room where, there's, an impending event, something happens that says, yeah, we should be thinking differently than we've been doing it and we're looking for a solution, and that usually starts the conversation, right? So I'm just kind of
Hmm.
curious, like what happened within your organization to be able to do that.
Well, when I came on board, the Evolve was already dealing with all of our phones, our call center, our main phones at our sites. And ever since I've been on board, Evolve has been phenomenal. I've been dealing with Stacy. Um, there's a few of them, Amy, and today actually we're working on a project for one of our fax machines. So, Evolve has just been amazing.
Okay.
So I haven't had any complaints from none of the employees either. Very good, fast customer service. Everything gets fixed pretty much pretty quick, So
Okay.
no wish. Yeah.
That's great. Well, so, I guess I should just voice the fact that, I'm not asking you to say those things. So that's great that you're
Oh
saying,
yeah, no. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, I think, the what we're looking for, as we find customers, we work with customers,
Yes.
we are, it's not just a sort of a marketing term. Like we're looking for partners, right? We want to understand what those use cases are and then figure out how can we customize what we do so that we're not putting you in a box, right?
Right.
Where you have to do certain things and operate our way. We're trying to be as fluid as possible. So, I mean, I think, as I think back to the beginning of our relationship, that's really what it's sort of been like, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
different, every business is different. So this
Yep.
is really, sort of indicative of that. So, well, let me ask a different question. So you already talked about the level of care and sort of the hand holding and, things like that, and it's sort of been that way from day one, from post implementation all the way through to today. Um, Talk to me about things like a level of urgency, the tech depth that we go into, things like that for you. So again,
Oh
you
yeah.
have unique use cases. How does that sort of play out for you on a day to day basis?
We actually just had a case not too long ago. It was a very urgent case, and as soon as I got on the phone with one of the techs, they researched it, and then it got expedited to um, Amy because it was very urgent, and it was resolved within like literally 10 minutes after I talked to Amy. We figured it out within 10 minutes and it was fixed and nobody lost anything. So it was really, really good. Like the quickness of everything, of everybody. I haven't had not one tech, honestly speaking, that I've had trouble with. I
So I
mean,
think,
they had to do their own research, but I mean, for the most part, I think I've waited maybe a day, if that, for a certain ticket or call to get fixed. Hmm.
yeah, I like that. I mean, I think one of the things that I notice is, and I hear from customers a lot, is the fact that, you know, we don't get put through like a level one, level two triage, sort of scenario. What we, typically see is more of a, it's instead of time to first ticket closed, or time to first response, it's really time to resolution that we're really trying to measure,
Right.
right? Like, what is the end result, the business outcome that you need as a customer, and then how do we drive to that as quickly as possible? And I think that's that's that level of urgency, I think, that we were talking about earlier, right? Is just,
Yep.
instead of, you know, hiding behind the ticket system, what we're really doing is kind
Hmm.
of getting out in front of that and saying, like, how can we be proactive? Because if we were in your shoes, this is sort of what we'd want to see, and then working alongside you to make that happen. Uh,
Right.
so what's the, if I think about, like, this is my next question. So if I think about the uh, things that you point to, right? So you obviously spend a lot of money on, Evolve IP products and, services. You do that month in, month out. You do that through the course of the contract. That's an investment for you in your business, right?
Right.
And, so I guess my question is this, like, what do you point to as sort of that measurable success, the measurable things that you're seeing that, help you to understand, like, yes, this is working, yes, this is right for us. And it could be things like efficiency or improved efficiency. It could be things like lower TCO. It could be, what have you. I'm just kind of curious, like, what's your take? Like, what would you say if your boss came along and said, like, how are we doing with Evolve IP?
Um,
Point to.
Actually, just did had a meeting, and then he asked me how is Evolve doing, and honestly, like we have there's two other members in IT that I work with. We haven't had any issues. Only what right now we're dealing with an issue, but it has nothing to do with Evolve. It's on our end, but between Amy and I think I forgot the gentleman's name, but we were in a group meeting today, and they were trying to assist me to hopefully get the problem resolved. And it's not on Evolve's side at all whatsoever. It's on our side, and they went over and beyond to try to figure out what they can assist with. And I honestly I have no complaints.
Great.
Amy and Stacy have been phenomenal. So,
That's great.
but yeah.
So just to give a sense of the size of the operation, like, how many agents, how large is
Um,
the,
how many agents have helped us?
no, on your side, like, how many?
Oh, my side. We have if I'm not mistaken, about 200 something users, about 220, 215.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That's great. All right. So last question, and this is actually the fun question. So I am always fascinated by how people inside of your job keep up with the ever changing technology, right? Like, things are happening very quickly, things move very
Hmm.
fast, certifications, compliance issues, like everything under the sun. So I'm kind of curious, like, how do you uh, stay up on the current trends, the current technology? Do you do that
Um,
through the web? Do you do that through LinkedIn? Do you do that through research? Like, how does that look like to you?
well, with me, I deal mostly with research, and to be honest with you, my boss, the
Mhm.
VP of IT and data, he's very up to par with everything, Anthony. And if I have any questions, I'm like, I frizzle his brain. I'm like, oh, what about this? Like the new iPhone, like what are the perks of it? Because I'm not too familiar with everything, but I
Mhm.
do my own research as well.
Okay.
Google it.
Yeah. All right. So you're Googling it, you're pulling out
Yeah.
research from, like, reputable third party
Yeah.
sources, things
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
How about podcasts? Do you listen to any podcasts?
I've never listened to a podcast actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So yeah, I mean, the reason I'm asking is because, I always get different answers from
Hmm.
folks, and that is, sort of indicative of, the types of people. Everybody learns differently, right? Everybody gathers information differently, and that changes and shifts over time. So I'm always curious
Right.
how that works. Great. Well, it was great meeting you. I really appreciate the
Same
time.
here.